everybody. This is Brian here. We got David Palmer on line here. He's going to host DeFi for real estate, partial real estate. You want to take it away, David? David, just 1 second. We've got somebody reporting an audio problem here. I can hear you fine. Can everyone else hear me okay? Just give me a yes in the chat. I think we got Thomas here who's claiming that the sound's not working. You're okay. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, well, we'll continue. I'll just let him know. Okay, go ahead, David. Sorry about that. Wow, that's pretty deep what you just went through. Anybody got any questions on it, I guess? I mean, that's really deep. I've kind of got a better idea of the liquidity pools and the credit swaps thanks to you. I mean, so this is all going to be integrated on all the mainstream exchanges out there, it looks like. But where I get confused is wrapping my head around, just doing a simple buy and sell on something like Bitcoin. But here it's just adding so many layers of complexity, and over time, like who do you trust, and which company to go with, or what investment vehicle to go with. So right. Mhm. Right. Um, I could ask you a million questions, but I'm going to let anyone else that's got questions out there. Anybody got any further questions for David? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. You went to great lengths with this, and there's so many other uses of DeFi. I just had a guy or a company from one of the lending on Twitter called Cobalt Lend. Have you ever heard of it? No, they're supposed to get listed on Halloween, and I asked them if they're going to get listed on Binance, and they said they're going to do an ICO on Halloween. So it'll be interesting to see where they go on the lending front, because I look at all the reports, and the only one that I see for storage is BTT, which is the BitTorrent token. And what I find with a lot of these tokens on their own, they'll do the initial ICO, let's say on Binance, pops for let's say 2 3 days, and it just dwindles from there. And that's the worry I would have with these sort of new tokens, because they have to establish themselves and show maturity in the market for the adoption, for the price of that token to move up. But this is more than just speculating on one token. That's the thing, right? Yeah, a lot of work. As I said, anybody got any questions at all for David at all? You've put a lot of work into it, that's for sure. I pre. Okay. No, of course not. And just so, and just for the institutional's over what, $1 million liquidity, liquid $1 million, or liquid. Yeah, I think it has to be investable or liquid. Like it's just the equivalent of cash. Anyways, go on, man. Sorry about that. Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Interesting. Right, and you have to go through. Well, there is no verification process, I guess, for like you said, it's just kept open where there's no KYC or AML at all, right? Okay. Right. Right. And obviously, that probably will tip off the IRS and whoever else in the U.S. that you're involved in these kind of investment vehicles. Yeah, I guess they have to really tightly oversee this to protect consumers from any form of theft. Um, yeah. Ver- if you get your head, But I do also know that Tron and Neo also are competing now. And from what I understand with Tron, because that was one of the reasons why Tron, the price was getting driven up because of these newer DeFi projects built on Tron. But what I heard was I posted on my Facebook is that some of those projects are scams. So you gotta pick the right blockchain first. I guess it's gonna be the standard will be either at some point Bitcoin or Ethereum, and whichever one matures and become more recognized from an industry point of view as well as the regulation, over time they'll start to establish themselves through market share. Hmm. I'm wondering also because there's the newer one and that's just blown up in terms of volume is Polkadot. Yeah, because that's now the fourth. Go ahead. So is that its own blockchain or is it just built on uh, on Ethereum? Okay. Yeah. So confusing. Is that another way of saying like a mortgage or a mortgage against the house, like a second mortgage against the house where the house is back doesn't I see, okay. Mhm. So so are all these I guess protocols are they all American like created in the US? Because I imagine that would be pretty important because if there's like a Chinese one in there, I'm sure if one of the regulators will probably start to flip out if it's China. Okay. Neo, okay, right, right. Yeah. Well, it's like the car industry in the 1920s, where there's like probably 100 different car manufacturers, right? And give it like a couple of months, maybe a year, 2 years, where they all start to mature, and a lot of them will start to fall off because when you look at just overall the let's say couple of hundred crypto coins out there, there's probably maybe the top 15, top 20 that really matter, and if you really want to get anal about it, it's probably just the top maybe five volume wise that really matter. And I'm sure it'll be the same thing with this as they mature. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, yeah. Because so the thing is I look at Chainlink and it's done well up until maybe the last month, but the problem with Chainlink now is people start to lose interest in it. And if you're depending on, in this case, trying to build Chainlink as part of your overall network, whatever you're trying to do in terms of using as a functionality tool, and that coin starts to drop off in terms of volume, now that technology can be somewhat in trouble. This is the other problem I see as well. Right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that working. But the thing is, this just like for Realty, they only covered Detroit, right? Yeah, I guess like they like Realty has to go in and actually like who initially buys the property for it to get put into the network. Is it like Realty goes out and buys the property and then resells it? Yeah, so that's probably why they're small right now. But if this became like adopted industry wide, I mean, where all the real estate brokers like Remax and all them got involved, that'd be huge. I mean, it's fascinating what you've put together there. I mean, it's a really interesting use case for overall DeFi. But I always thought with DeFi, the whole point of DeFi was where it's nobody controls it, nobody owns it. You know what I mean? And the most important aspect is that there's no regulation involved. I mean, I understand it's real estate. They're trying to protect the users of this, call it network, but you know what I'm saying? Is it like still fall under the guise of DeFi? You know what I mean? Yeah. That right. Yeah. 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 But you got to be a one of those big investors, the recognized investors. Uh, yeah. Yeah. What I like about this is that it puts guys like Grant Cardone out of business. Yeah. You, what he does, it is kind of a Ponzi scheme because what he does, he'll have like a product, right? Which is really he'll buy like a large building with all these tenants in it, and then he buys the building, and now it's a separate fund, and there might be 100, 200 people or tenants in the building, and then he'll have investors put money into that fund, and he promises like a 15% dividend return annually because that's covered by the tenants, right? And then the thing is now, before the COVID, maybe everything might have worked properly, But the problem now is that he didn't foresee this pandemic coming along, and now like some like 40% of his tenants can't pay the rent. So he's under. Yeah, he's out of Miami. Yeah, he's a sales guy and all that, and he's trying to make most of his money through the real estate. But his problem is that he promises all these things, and he promises a return, and then but he's not going after the sophisticated investor like the million plus guy. He's going after, mom, pa, running a farm that has like $5,000. So he's kind of going against the regulation, and that's why he's getting sued now, which came out last week. Quite a few. Right. Right. 6%. Yeah. Yeah. You guys still there? Yeah. I mean, but how long's Ethereum been out now? When was it found? Like 5 years, let's say. But let's say with Ethereum 2 being set as the standard, um, I, yeah, I can imagine that going to Ethereum 3, and as this matures and grows, it'll be just a huge. Yeah. Yeah. It's a fascinating world, but I can imagine what the bank. Do you think in the institutional banks will get involved in this? I mean, what's stopping like a Blackstone or a BlackRock from putting out their own competitive product because it's got the name BlackRock or Blackstone? You know what I mean? That's what's. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do know that I just put up a article that said that Uniswap is has the same or more volume than all of Coinbase. That's crazy. And most of it's all done in the U.S. as well, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, we live in a different world, eh? That's crazy what you just presented, but trying to wrap your head around it. I mean, I'm a much better understanding of it right now, but there's still a million and one questions. But as I said, I don't think they'll be answered until these things start to mature and see which ones become what. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Binance is going from centralized to decentralized. So yeah, that's what they're doing, but decentralized, but they still own the decentralized network. So how's it not? How's it decentralized when it's still proprietarily owned by Binance? You know what I'm saying? Because the whole idea is like you look at Bitcoin, nobody owns Bitcoin. So if you have a decentralized exchange, like no one's supposed to own it, no one's supposed to control it. So that's the thing. There you go, and that works. And that's a fully open sourced protocol as well, right? So it's just a matter of those six protocols that you shown that will compete against each other to prove themselves, or does each protocol have its own unique use case? You were talking about the different protocols, Maker, Uniswap, Chainlink. There's six different ones. So it's not like you can have one protocol that does all that functionality instead of having six. Uh, yeah, those ones right there. Yeah. Okay. Right, right, right. So right, okay. I thought right, okay. Fascinating. Okay, I think I see what you're saying. Right. Right. But what about those that don't have like a great credit rating, or those that don't have enough? So I guess you have to kind of like invest into it, and it factors out. It doesn't matter what your credit rating is because you've already supplied your financial investment into this network. So you just got to be able to do the equivalent of prepaying. Does that make sense? What you said? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. 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 And where do these companies make their revenue? Like RealT, like how do they like where are they getting their fees from or collecting their revenue from? Gotcha. Okay. And how do they cover like if there's a management fee? If there's like I don't know, get involved in 5 properties and there's like a management fee where you hire a person that manages a property. Yeah. Right. So then RealT takes care of all that for you. Gotcha. Can you hear me? Okay. I was just saying, like in any property, you're going to have a property manager that you're have to going to hire to maintain the property as well as the property cost or maintenance cost. Right. Yeah, you did mention that. Very fascinating. And that's just one use case of DeFi. I mean, there's so many other different uses for it. Very fascinating. Anybody anybody else got any questions on this at all? If not, we'll, or it depends upon how your crypto trading goes. There's nowhere else to go in my mind right now. I mean, I'm not going to pay 1.5% or 0.15% on Coinbase versus 0.1% on Binance. You know where it will take off is when you get the prime real estate in West Palm Beach or something. I don't know what to say. Yeah, that's where it gets really fascinating. So get in while it's hot, you know. I'm not sure, but if we're done, David, thanks so much for putting this on. I can imagine the amount of hours you put in this. So we're going to do one on storage and lending and all that next week. I, I, I'm I'm just joking here. That's a lot of work what you'd already done. But I'll say thanks from everybody on here who watches this. You got a question, Addy? Right. Right. True. Yeah. Or ETFs or stocks or the whole. It's limitless. Do you know if this kind of technology is going to move into places like Europe and Asia that you're aware of, or equivalent of these sort of? Interesting. Contact? Okay. So yeah, as this starts to advance, I'm sure this will start to roll out in Europe and wherever else in Asia. Crazy stuff. Oh wow, that'll make a big difference. Right. Now the next question is how do you capitalize on it? Uh, well, I do know a lot of these are listed on Binance. Yep. but won't Ethereum 2 take care of all those higher network or gas fees, whatever they call them? Yep. So another new competitor could come along and make that happen, I guess. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But you know what? But I'm finding though when I'm running these reports on just pure value of certain crypto coins right now with everything so flat, no volume and anything, the only one that seems to be doing well right now in the last month is Monero, and that's because it's private. That's what I'm thinking. So that go ahead, man. I'd say in the last month. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing that they're controlling is no different than what we already talked about when it comes to taxation and controlling the access points. In terms of the innovation, I think they want the innovation, but they just want to be able to get their own cut on the revenue and not be able to have the form of tax evasion. That's what they're more worried about. And that's one of the reasons why I think Monero is just, it's gone from $40 at a low in April and now just hovering over $100. Yeah. And that's what I think is like when you look at gold and all the traditional hedges, they're not working as they should. And the only real hedge that seems to be predictable is Monero. Not yet. I would like to, but it's one of those things. It's always late, yeah. But I just discovered this on Friday. Yeah, but you look at it, ZIL. Yeah, that's another one that the last few days has been going up very, very consistently. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That one's been not taken off, but it's starting to show some form of turnaround. Zalika. Um, but BNB is another one that's starting to move up a little bit. But there's a lot of volatility in BNB. But this could taper off in the next week. There's this is with this coin. Yeah, I read about that. I just can't remember the coin. They talked about that. Right. Okay. The question is, when does this end? Like, it just seems like tomorrow and next week it's going to be like 1,000 more. Oh, they're making money. It just are they sustainable? You know what I mean? But do you remember like back in July and August we sat there and looked at charts with coins going 5 times return or seven up to 7 times return, and you look at those same coins now and they're just like almost dead. This is what I worry about. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to stay on top of it. But that yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of like no different than penny stocks. Yeah, it seems high risk to me. IPO. Yeah, yeah. I know. It's very overwhelming with them. Well, I do know that the new coins that get listed, they don't move as much as they used to. And I think they've been, yeah. Mm, yeah, 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 yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just the question is there fundamentals on what will move one coin over another, I guess. Yeah, hype. Eh? That's CELR, you said? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one I've seen the last few days is still up there as a number one performer. Yeah, yeah, that's done. That does okay. Oh, is it? Okay. Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I'm now a host. Yeah, I mean it's crazy what's going on with all the crypto coins out there. That's on the pre-ICO, what you're saying, right? Hmm. I mean, there's still coins out there that move, and like I'm still seeing coins that move in a few hours, like 5 or 10% right now. And I mean, it's just picking the right ones that will actually do that. And not only that, but there's certain patterns you can look for with where you can look for breakouts as well. And you do find those breakouts; they move, you know, 10 to 30%. I mean, that's in this tight condition right now. Yeah, yeah. Just finding them is a challenge. No, no, no. It's a lot lower than what it was in July and August. Yeah, it's just it's mind boggling at the progress of this. So now we had the DeFi. Now we specialize in the what type of DeFi, I guess, with what kind of area with this real estate. Yeah, yeah. Well, remember we talked about BitMEX and how they was banned in Ontario. I don't know if you heard, but with BitMEX, the founders, the two guys that founded it, were potentially facing criminal charges now. but with the with the SEC. So I don't feel so bad about it because now I feel okay. Maybe Binance should still be okay in Canada or any other Western country, as long as Binance doesn't venture into some questionable area. Well, I do know that their reputation and credibility did take a hit on some of the DeFi projects, like especially with that sushi. People were like really ticked off. So, and now he's come back and try to solve it by having these investments, high risk zones, or what they call it, and then this other one about. He said that obviously DeFi is very high risk as well, because there was literally a time where like I was like looking at YFI, I never heard of it, goes to 5,000, and then 2 3 days later it's at $40,000. I'm like, is this a dream or is this a joke? Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm trying to explain this to a normal person trying to understand investing, let alone do they really fully understand Bitcoin. That's just the start of it, and then you get into all these hundreds of different other coins and all the different other ways you can slice just the DeFi itself. It's just mind-boggling trying to keep up with it. Yeah, I don't. Well, let alone if they can understand it, you know. But I mean, using tools like Motorwave and an exchange like Binance, I think that's a really good start for sure. I'm not sure if David's still there, but I mean, I've got nothing else to add. If anybody else wants to add anything at all, that's still online. Is there anything? What do you want to see next week at all? Is David now still there? And what would you like to see next week? Like, if you could, Boyd, like, what would you like to see? Yeah, I could do more of those. Yeah, I mean, Motorwave is in itself is just another beast. What edition? What edition are you on? Are you on Ultimate or are you on Standard? Okay. Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of us on Ultimate. I think the thing is when people are getting new into trading, and they have already put in a few thousand or even a couple $100 into a platform, they become married to it. So they're not going to put in an additional 500, 1,000, $2,000 into another platform. No, so right, yeah, 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 yeah. But where are you coming from? What platform are you coming from? Like a MetaTrader? So you're an old school forex guy, and you mostly do. Well, you're now focusing obviously on crypto, but do you still do any forex at all? I know that's a problem. Yeah, you got to focus on one thing. That's the thing. But the other challenge is with crypto, it's dead. Then you look at CFD and Forex, which I did today, and you see some things moving pretty nicely, and then you get yeah. Now are you doing options with stock? Okay. Hmm. Right. Hmm. What's your who's your broker for options? Well, they used to support Questrade, but they dropped them. But I do know that they still have TD Ameritrade on MotoWave. Mm. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would. Right. But I was going to ask you, Adi, are you aware of any DeFi projects going on in Europe, like that's tapping into real estate at all, or that you know of, or anything? Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Yeah, but 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 I heard but I heard the ECB is trying to regulate stablecoins somehow. I'm trying to figure out how that impacts coins like Tether. So yeah, yeah. In terms of regulate, that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, what are they trying to do? Like, I know that they're trying to digitize euro, but they also started saying things that they're trying to control and regulate the stable coins because, like, the stable coins, like Tether's getting really big now. I think it's the biggest. It, yeah, I mean that's all I look at is in Tether. Anything else? I've done the studies, I've done the back testing, and Tether's the best performing market to be in because uh, if you're crypto to crypto, you're not going to make a lot of money because you have to deal with the volatility of the market that you trade in if it's Bitcoin or Ethereum. But whereas USDT or Tether, you're able to you have that stability and you just focus more on the other coin as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So David, is there anything else you want to add? I think it's just the four of us. Okay, okay. Anything you guys want to add at all? Oh, yeah. I mean, what you've done is quite amazing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, same here. So, oh no. Yeah. So, what would you like to see next week, David? I mean, I know you're coming out. Like I just asked Boyd and Addy, what would you like to see next week presented? What kind of topic? Yep. Oh, I see. Yeah. How do you spell Conlon? Mm-hmm. Lan. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Chris Conlon, data scientist, software developer, author. Yeah, it's his name. ChrisConlon.com. Is he out of Toronto or is it? Okay. Right. Wow. Yeah. 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 There we go. Yep. Thanks, man. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think some people have wanted, or I know Boyd wants to do Motorwave, which I can probably try to rummage something up for that, and maybe. Okay. Okay. So maybe we'll do something on Motorwave next week. Okay. You could always just set up a virtual machine to get you going. Yeah. Just set up a virtual machine and whatever operating system and reinstall it. I don't think they would know, and then maybe just disconnect your cable modem and get a new IP, and you should be okay in that regard. Or the other way is just get the community edition for free. You'll still get access to all the studies and all the source code. You can play around with it there. Yeah. Well, in that case, you might want to go the virtual machine route. Yeah, that'd be really good. Yeah, and it'll help out a lot of other people as well. And what Addie's discovered is mind blowing on the precision, how it affects the backtest result, and yeah, like from scratch or use a there is that, but on the other hand, I've done the back testing in Python, and you just get instant results with MotiveWave, and you know what asset to focus on. Whereas in Python, it's a lot more hairiness to plug this in, get that going, rerun it, blah 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 blah. And in MotiveWave, you get instant results. Yeah, yeah, you could. Yeah, yeah. All you do is you could output it to create a CSV output. You could do just simple debug statements. I mean, I haven't really played on that level where to export it, but I don't see why you can't do it. But that's one of the big advantages with MotiveWave, because if I have a trading idea and I don't want to have to sit there for a couple of days trying to code it up from zero, as opposed to I can just instantly load up the instrument that I want, visually see it, and usually 95% of the time there's going to be a strategy for it. Or mm-hmm. Yeah, go on, Eddie. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I can attest to that from all angles of different programming languages. But with MotiveWave, it's not instant, but it's a lot faster. And once you know how to master creating your study and strategies, you now starting to go from hours and months or weeks to a few minutes. So, right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can attest to that because I've gone through many developers. I've gone out, do their Python back testing. They'll spend 6 months on one strategy, and after 6 months, they'll realize that the strategy is useless and can't be doesn't work, right? As opposed to with MotiveWave, you can create that strategy pretty fast, and then you can run it against any watch list you want. So let's say if it's 100 instruments or 1,000, you can do that, and maybe 75% of the instruments might not work, but there might be one or two that not just makes money, but makes a lot of money. You just focus that strategy on that instrument. That's another thing too. And you can forward test it. And doing all that from coding, even in Python or MATLAB, you could spend weeks to months on it and just go down rabbit holes and not come away with nothing. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that easily because what you could do is you use the motor wave as the heavy lifting, and then you just push that data and those signals into maybe a database or some central hub, and then you can have other scripts, whatever language it is, to read into from that central data hub, and then do all your execution wherever you want to do. So that capability is there. That's why I've architected my Redis to do all that with MotiveWave. Yeah, and then you're back to rabbit holes again. Yeah, same here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, and you don't know where to start. Yeah, the hard part is getting to that point, and you can go down so many rabbit holes, and it could take. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of get like repositories like GitHub, where a collection of people are working on it. But the problem is in the world of trading, nobody likes to share their idea. Like they'll take the idea, but when they discover something, they're not. You don't expect them to contribute back into that community. They won't, right? And doing trying to do it all on your own. From my experience of 10 years of doing this, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'm just saying from experience that most platforms don't do the job. But when I discovered MotoWave, it was like wow and wow, wow. And MotoWave's developed by a programmer as well, so that gives it that advantage as well. And the thing is, with the rabbit holes I've gone down, I can now come up with a trading idea and look at that trading idea. And as I said, there's usually a study pretty close to it, and be able to run it against whatever data I want, whatever connection or data provider, and within an hour, I can know if that strategy is viable or not. To try to hand code that, you're going to go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and you could spend 6 months or a year realizing that what you're trying to achieve is just you're not getting the answer that you want. That's just my experience, right? So again, I don't tell people what to do. I'm just giving you my experience, and I just find MotoWave is rescues me. And then you got Addy as well. How long have you had MotoWave, Addy? Like a month, maybe 6 weeks, 2 months? Yeah, mm, yeah, yeah. So let's yeah, yeah. And that's a guy starting. Yeah, and that's a guy starting from zero knowledge of MotoWave after 6 weeks. So yeah, but when you go ahead, Eddie. You have to also understand when you factor in the time that you're trying to save. Let's say the ultimate edition of $2,600, and if you were to try to build your own solution, let's say with Python, and it took you more than $30 an hour of your own time, you're probably going to be spending in that time probably well in excess of $50,000 if you were to bill out that same time to get the same result you would get with MotiveWave. Just think of it that way. And I'm like, I've got a working strategy. It worked great up till a week ago. Now it's broken. Market conditions changed, and now I'm just like, you know what? I'm tired of hand coding it in Python, and that's been 2 years in the making. And now I'm transitioning everything into MotiveWave, and I think the standard, yeah, standard edition is good enough. That's $250. Yeah, but I mean, it's like what? Yeah, that's another way to look at it too. I'm just looking up MotiveWave here. But there's different ways to look at it, right? Because I've gone down that route trying to code up my own solution, and I've looked at so many different ways, and I'll tell you, man, year after year, you're just realizing you're spinning your wheels. So I do think that the standard edition, from what I'm seeing, is yeah, to start with, $24 a month, $245 for an initial, and then a year after that, I think I don't know what the updates are, but probably no more than $50. Right. But you still have the source code to work from, though. And that's over 300 studies to work from. That's in itself, like, that's worth probably hundreds of thousands of dollars of coding time for whoever coded up those studies. And then you could use those from a reference point and play with those within the standard edition. But let alone all the other extra utilities you get, it's just that's saving yourself in time from headache after headache. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and that's not including the charting aspect, the database acts. I mean, on and on I could go on. We're just talking strategy development, let alone all the info. Yeah, yeah. I think saving the time alone is it pays for itself. Oh yeah. Oh, that true. Yeah. Yeah. Have you have you looked at other open source trading platforms? Oh, I see. I'm sure some. I'm sure somebody's already working on something like that, or Binance, for example, maybe already working on that as a feature, right? Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Have you looked on GitHub for anything like that at all? Really? Wow, that'd be an interesting project to look at. Yeah, I mean, I've looked at thinking about doing. The one guy I know wants to do an autonomous, decentralized fund for crypto. But then I thought, well, what's stopping equivalent of a BlackRock or a Blackstone or a Goldman Sachs to get into that and then start taking all the hype away, and then they have also the clientele and the credibility. And then they become like your big monster Goliath equivalent competitor. Because you can't be. I'm not the only one thinking of that, and I've researched it. And there's so many out there, and trying to get capital raised through that kind of facility is really, I think, would be pretty tough. I've looked at all the regulation through the Isle of Man and all the different jurisdictions. That's a tough gamble, a tough game already. So yeah, I know what you're trying to do, but I'd be interested to see that order book. There's one in C++ as well. No, I think for you it'd be a good place to start. But for me, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really care about the technology anymore. All I want to do is just trade, make money at trading. That's it. And I decided, you know what? I'd rather use a tool or a platform like MotiveWave, have it control all the heavy lifting, and then just focus on the trading and with the capabilities that the MotiveWave gives me. I'm too old to think about all the technology that goes into platforms and starting funds. I'm just too old for that now. You know what I mean? It's like I've been screwing the pooch too long. In a nutshell, and if you're young, I'd probably say the same thing. It's fine to look at the technology and all that stuff, but I would just rather focus on the trading and build from there, and find the best platform you think's really good, and just focus on the trading aspect and focus on just strategy development. That's what I. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, please. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been at it for 10 years, and I'm going to tell you, when you come up with a trading idea or trading technology or something to do in finance, by the time you get even a quarter of the way, there's already somebody done it and 100 times better. That's that. No matter what I come up with, so I just said, screw it, I'm going to focus on trading and get me the quickest path to it. So I mean, I could, yeah, yeah. Well, I do know. I'll tell you this: when I get people to go through that Python course they came up with, not very many people get to the finish line because they realize how difficult it is to get to that point. But once you get to that point, your trading ideas, with all the infrastructure and the framework that you've got to develop a trading idea and implement it, could take just a couple of hours. So if you get a guy that's already on here who's trying to master the software, he'll be able to do the same thing and come up with a trading idea, implement it, and get it running within a couple of hours, and be able to back test it, do a walk forward, and see if it's viable or not. That's where I put all my energy in now. That's just me talking, you know. But there are many ways to achieve what you're trying to achieve. But either way, I admire your ambition a lot. Just for my, yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of guys, like, look up Max Dama. He was one of those kind of guys who did that, and he was making good money. And I know personally another guy in I think he was living in New Jersey, worked, I think it was J.P. Morgan. He was up to 150, 120,000. He just graduated from computer science, and he did quite well. But he was very ambitious, you know. I don't know where he's at now, but those two guys are fairly young, and they ended up in hedge funds or banks and did quite well. But they don't want to work for other people. That's the other problem. But once they get into a company like that, then they get addicted to the money, and it's very hard for them to step away from it. You know what I mean? That's the hard part. Yeah, I'll tell you, I've done a lot, many years of that. And I would like, I don't want to, I've done both, and I'd rather be poor and do my own thing than make 200 grand and have a heart attack by the time I hit 50 from a stressful job. So different ways to attack it. But either way, I mean, I admire people like you or yourself that have the ambition to move ahead and want to build something and get something going and learn it, reverse engineer. I admire that. I really do. It's just from my perspective, I just would hate to say I don't want to see people like, as I term it, screwing the pooch. It's not screwing the pooch, but you know what I mean. And at the end of the day, they realize that either they give up on whatever they're trying to achieve, or they come to the realization maybe I should just focus on the trading and just focus on the strategy development and pick a tool that I'm comfortable with and that fits my criteria and just focus on the strategy development. Because when you have everything else that goes around it, like I said, the charting, the money management, the database, it's beyond overwhelming. Oh yeah, yeah, and that's just the start of it. You know, it's crazy. There's a lot of craziness to it. So I don't know what I can suggest, but if I had to do it all over again at a young age, I'd be just focusing on the trading and the strategy development, because that's going to be the quickest path to what you want. What is to build a steady revenue because you have an automated strategy that hopefully works, and you can diversify your strategies that you work on. And I could tell you just in crypto that the market changes all the time. Like up to 2 weeks ago, there was a certain market condition that this strategy was built around, and guess what? We now have a different regime in the market, and now the thing doesn't trade, and that's the other big challenge of all of this as well. That's just a crypto, you know, and that's been like that for 2 3 years now, where you think everything looks good, you get all excited, and it looks great, and then just somehow, somewhere, the market regime changes and it goes to this, and now your strategy that you worked on no longer works. And the only way to really adapt to it is by using something like MotiveWave, where you can get in and out, develop something quick, and see if with the back testing and the optimizer and the walk forward to make sure that that trading idea is viable, and not go beyond that, not go down a rabbit hole that will suck up all your time. That's the thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. 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 Yeah, and it's never static. That's the thing. It's always dynamic and it's always changing. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll start your own. So go ahead, Eddie. Yeah. No. But the thing is, it's never static. No matter what asset class, it's never static. It just so changes and it's so dynamic. And especially if you get into a market condition where the whole market, like it is in crypto right now, where it goes in this random walk, good luck in trading that. It's hard. It's very difficult. And it's a different. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you want to find predictable returns as well. That's yeah. Yeah. And predict well where it's predictable as well. Yeah. Yeah. And your hair. Yeah, it's a good looking guy, man. Yeah. Yeah. Coin washing or yeah, wash trading there. Well, well, well. Look at Quadriga FX, the guy Cotton, who faked his death, and I'm sure he's still alive, and he's probably sitting on $400 million somewhere in some off Caribbean Vanuatu or whatever island, and but he can't come back to Canada or the U.S. Yeah, the, yeah, yeah, yeah. I like I said, yeah, yeah, and even if they get caught, the fines or whatever are so minuscule. Yeah, that's why I like to focus on the strategy development. It's easy, it's the easiest part of the whole trading game, and it's still hard. It's very hard. No, it's you can't. I mean, if you're just a retail trader, cannot really unless it's some small little instrument where they can move the market. But usually, nobody can move Bitcoin. Nobody owns it, or any of the forex pairs or particular stocks. Yeah, yeah. Or or they're on the lam in some weird country and they get cut off from all their family and friends and where they used to live. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's. But when you look at crypto, let's say we're in Canada and we make $100,000 on crypto and crypto trading. 50% of that, or 50 grand, has to go to the government for taxes. Whereas if I go to, I don't know, one of the Channel Islands off the UK, there's no tax. There's no capital gains. Yeah, but there's always that saying: nothing's illegal until you get caught. Yeah. Well, not just that, but look at Binance. Like they don't want to deal with the regulation in the U.S. Yeah. 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 The software piracy and all the drugs and guns and all that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, and that's the problem with Bitcoin, because the governments are they know they're threatened when people are able to go in, make money, and not pay tax for it. Yeah, well, taxation is the biggest theft known to man as far as I'm concerned. 10, 20. I have no problem paying 10, 20% beyond that. No way. No way. Well, New York's a good example of it with that Blasio guy, and then look at what's happening. Crime is up, and the wealthy have left. That's what happened to Detroit. You know, you just can't. There's a certain point you can't take advantage of the capitalist system that's in place. You know, when you tax, 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 it just takes away the innovation, takes away the people that want to take the risk and start a company and hire people, and it just destroys that. And it's the same thing with crypto. They put in all these regulations in it, and it takes away all that innovation, and it limits it too. So yeah, yeah. If it's for a challenge, I fully support it. I think you should do it. But if you're trying to trade or make money is the end goal, yeah, just trade and work on the strategy development and choose a tool. Go. Okay. Yeah. Yep. 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 Well, they started. I don't know what year. That was it 2004, and they just started in the garage. No different than Apple. No different than HP. But it's all about timing. Like they were trailblazers in their industry, and Amazon was literally the first online retailer in the world. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and he was yeah. Google's a good example of that because nobody knew about search engines. There's Yahoo. There was like five Alta Vista. There was a whole pile of them. But Google innovated it and came up with the algorithm that they did, and they become the dominant player. Yeah, Good, yeah. Totally, yeah. Yeah. And it was that new company that saved Apple. Right. Yeah. Totally. Well, and I don't know if you guys know how Rentech was started, Renaissance Technologies and James Simmons. Have you read the latest one where all it was just a guy working for one of the mathematicians and said, I've discovered a bug. They fixed the bug, and that's when they started to take off because they filled that one deficiency, and the company built its success just from that one bug. No, I'm just saying, but that was the lightning rod moment that made the difference. Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, there. Yeah, that's right. But well, they were both mathematicians and programmers from IBM Research. Yep, 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 yep. But Pete, Nike, yeah, yeah, Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys mentioned Jeff Bezos, but a lot of people may not know, but he came out of Getco, which was one of the earliest HFT funds. And he was mentored by the CEO of Getco, and he came up with this weird way to run the early days of Amazon. Luck. Yeah, luck is part of it, I think. Mm-hmm. Yep. And timing as well. Yeah. Well, Elon Musk built was one of the four founders of PayPal. Got booted out, started and built Tesla out of that proceeds from what he got from PayPal. And it took him years upon years before he even started breaking even. Look at him now, and he's the sixth was it sixth wealthiest? Yeah. Persistence, luck, no, a lot of risk. Yeah, and then you get certain segment of the population that don't like it. They want to hobble you and not be successful. This is yeah. But he was a form of a monopolist as well, though. I mean, but Apple's a good example of that, where they got rid of Steve Jobs, and look at they almost went bankrupt. Now they're have the largest market cap in the world. You know, are you talking about? Yeah, well, that's not Jordan. Is it Jordan Knight or Peter something Knight? Yeah, the founder. Yeah, Phil Knight. Yeah, yeah, a real business. Well, and that's another thing. Age. When you look at Colonel Sanders, I don't think he started making real money until his mid 60s or early 70s. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Colonel Sanders was Kentucky Fried Chicken. Sounds stupid, but it's the truth, right? No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Well, in Canada, we have the guy who started. What's his name? Who started? He's one of the Shark Tank guys on Dragon's Den. Tom O'Leary. I mean, he was the same. Ostronic. Yeah. 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 Or that's what Elon Musk did when they brought out the Model 3. He was sleeping on the assembly line to get the job done. And that was the model that was going to make or break Tesla. And that was not long ago. And he came up with all these unique manufacturing processes. And now they're rolling that out across to China, now in Germany. Yeah. Well, that's why I brought up O'Leary, because he said he's willing to sacrifice his family's relationship for it if he really believes in the idea. And Elon Musk the same thing as well. Yeah. Yeah, or Nikola Tesla. Yeah. 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 It's persistence, luck, a bit. It's a lot. Yeah. 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 Or at least they have the opportunity, as opposed to like another political system. At least they have the opportunity. That's the key. Yeah. You could talk about this till the cows come home. You know. Yeah. Well, come on, man. It's only 10 o'clock. We got another 2 more hours. We got to break the last one. Screw your job. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. See, there's a guy who's dedicated right there. You're looking at him. That's dedication. Just take some more meth and you'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Oh, I think so. Be inspired. But you have to admit, Adrian, like compared to like running a business, it's not like you're traveling around halfway around the world meeting somebody. I mean, this is all done on your little laptop with an internet connection, and the impact that comes out of it's incredible. Well, look at the guy who founded Binance. He's a self-made billionaire now, and he's done it within how many years? Like 3, 4, 5 years. You know, CZ. Yeah, he's originally from Canada as well. I understand. Yeah, and same with Buderik as well of Ethereum. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope we haven't twisted, poisoned David's mind here. Do what you gotta do, David. I mean, seriously, just pursue that exchange or what your idea. Yeah, you don't want to listen to old people like myself. Yeah, I think so. He's very persistent. For him to put on this kind of presentation just says it all compared to yeah, and I learned a lot from it. Yeah, that's persistence in itself right there. Anyways, until next time, we'll come up with some motorwave stuff next week. Yeah, yeah, and then we'll get David to come in as well, and he'll be a great motorwave user. He's got to keep twisting his arm. All right, yeah, yeah, it was good, man. Okay, have a good one. Later, bye.